What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Jane by Design. So guys, on today's video I'll be showing us how to sew a 6-piece skirt. I want to wish you guys a happy new year, and I pray that all your dreams and aspirations come true in this new year. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by, and if you're returning, thank you as well for being part of this channel. So on today's video I'll be showing us how to sew a 6-piece skirt. I already drafted the cutting. I already did a video on how to cut the 6-panel skirt, and I'm going to leave that in the description box, so that I will advise that you watch that video before coming to watch this. Now on the screen you can see that I have my pattern already, I have my fabric, and I also have the lining. Now for us to begin, we're going to be joining the center piece and the side piece. That is the first step, and to do this I'm going to be placing them right sides facing each other. And also note that I have gone ahead to notch the hip line and the knee line of my skirt. So for the side piece and the center piece, I have notched the knee line and also the hip line. So what I'll do is to join the side piece of the front of the right and the side piece of the left. So what I'll do is to ensure that I match them waist to waist, hip to hip, and knee to knee. And I'm going to use my pins now to pin them from the waist down to the hip line. I'll do this for the right side, and I'll also do the same thing for the left side of the side piece. So now I have pinned down all the two sides together, and what we'll do is to take it to the sewing machine, and we are going to be stitching on a 1/2 inch sewing allowance from the waist down to the hip line, down to the knee, and down to the hem of the skirt. So that's what we'll do. We'll do this for the right side, and we'll also do this for the left side of the skirt. So after we've done this, now this is what our skirt would look like. You can see that the two side panels have been joined to the center panel. This is what the front part of the skirt looks like. Next up is to join the center back of the skirt. That's the point where the zipper is going to stop. Remember that the center back of the skirt is divided into two because we're going to be having a zipper in the middle. So at that point, I'm going to place my tape from the waistline down to the point where I want my zipper to stop at the center back of the skirt, and I'm going to place a point right there. Now after I've marked a point right there, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and stitch from that point down to the hemline. Now do note that when you mark your sewing allowance from that point down to the knee line, ensure that you mark, if you're marking 1 inch from the point down to the knee line, ensure that you sew it down to the hemline. Otherwise, if you reduce the sewing allowance from the knee line down to your hemline, the knee point is going to come out funny, and you wouldn't want that on your skirt. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking my sewing allowance from the point where I marked where the zipper will stop down to the hemline of the skirt. And after connecting all of the sewing allowances, I'm just going to pin my skirts together so they don't move around. And then I'll take it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to run a stitch from that point down to the hemline. And after that, this is what the center back of the skirt looks like. So I'll just take this to my iron and then give it a quick press, and we'll move on to the next phase. So this is what my skirt looks like, the center back of the skirt. You can see that I stitched all the way to the waistline. After ironing it, I'm going to open it up so that I can attach the zipper. So moving on to the side of the skirt, the two side panels, I'm going to be attaching them. Note that I also notched the waistline, the hip line, and the knee line. So I'm going to be matching all of my notches, and I'm going to be pinning down the sides, the right side and the wrong sides together. I'll just go ahead and pin them, making sure that you place each of them right sides facing each other. Okay, so do not forget you're going to be placing them on the right sides of the center back of the zipper and the right side of the side piece of the skirt. So place them together right sides facing each other, and ensure that you match your notches hip to hip and knee to knee. And then you can use your pin to just hold it down from the waist to the hemline, and then you take it to your sewing machine, and you're going to be running a 1/2 inch sewing allowance from the waist down to the hemline on both sides, right side and the left side of the skirt. So after stitching the right side, the right panel, and the left side of our skirts, This is what our back panel is looking like. This is what the back part of the skirt is looking like, already stitched and neatly attached. Next, we're going to be working on the zipper. So you can see on the back panel of my skirt, I have opened up the zipper allowance that I left for the zipper. So now I'm going to be attaching my zipper. I already did a video on how to attach this kind of zipper, and I'm going to leave the link in the description box. I'm not going to be showing you how to do that because this video is going to be too long, and I wouldn't want this video to be too long. So I already did a video on how to attach a zipper or two different kind of zippers. I'm going to leave the link in the description box so that you can go check it out and learn how to attach a zipper. So guys, after attaching the zipper, this is what our zipper looks like at the back panel of the skirt. Okay, I've neatly attached my zipper to the back. Now what I will do is to attach my lining. I'm going to sew my lining the same way I sewed the main fabric. For the right panel, I'm going to attach the center front and the two side pieces for the front the way I did for the main fabric, and I'll also do the same thing for the back panel as well. For the lining, I'll do the same thing that I did for the main fabric on the lining. So now I've done that. Now this is what I have for the back part of my lining. So now I'm going to attach the lining to the back of the skirt through the zipper. So I'm going to be attaching the zipper to the lining, and to do that I'm going to be placing them right sides facing each other. That is right side of the main fabric and the right side of the lining facing each other, and then I'm going to be joining them at the zipper side. So when you place them right sides facing each other, you're going to see that automatically the lining is going to cover your zip. Okay, so you just place them, then open up your lining, open up your main fabric. Okay, ensure that your fabric is opened inward, and then you're going to just pin your lining to the main fabric like that. You can see the way I'm doing it in this video. Okay, just hold them together like so, and then pin them down and run a stitch on it. That's just what you're going to do for the right side, and you also do the same thing for the left side. Hold them together, right side facing each other, ensuring that you sandwich the zipper inside the lining, and then you're going to run it down. You're not going to run a stitch from the waist down to the point where you left for the lining. So that's what I've gone ahead to do in this part now. So you can see that the lining has been attached to the main fabric. You see how clean and beautiful it is looking on the inside. Now that the zipper and the lining has been attached to the main fabric, I'm going to set that aside, and then we're going to work on the front panel of the skirt. So on the front panel at the center, I'm going to be folding them into two so that we can get the midpoint of the skirt, and I'm going to be marking 1 inch from the waistline down. And the reason for marking 1 inch is to be able to accommodate the tummy in the front. So I'm going to mark 1 inch and then reconnect it with a curve back to the edge of the skirt. So that's what I've done here with my curve, and after that I'm going to be cutting out that part. So I'll cut out that part for the front. I'll do this for the lining, and I'll also do this for the main fabric. So I've placed the lining and the main fabric together so that I can cut them out together. So after marking this 1 inch, I'll be cutting that out. Moving on, we're going to be joining the front and the back main bodies together. And so I'm going to be placing the front on the back bodies right sides facing each other. Okay, so I'll place the right side of the front facing the right side of the back on top of each other, and I'm going to just go ahead and pin the both sides down, matching them hip to hip and knee to knee, making sure that your notches match. Okay, and then the next thing to do is to go ahead and take your measurement and then mark out your measurement from the waist down to the hem. So what you need to do is now place your measurements, your waist measurement, whatever value your waist is, you place it there, and then you mark a point right there. You repeat this same process for the hip. You come down to your hip line, your hip divided by 2, whatever value you have, you place it down on your hip line, and then you take the measurement. So you just go ahead and whatever seam allowance that is left there, you're going to run a stitch all the way from the waist down to the knee, and then down to the waistline, to the hemline. So for the knee, I already added 1 inch sewing allowance to the knee. So at the knee, I'm only going to be taking 1 inch sewing allowance there. So I've done this for the main fabric, and I've also done the same markings on my lining. So what I did here was to join fabric to fabric and lining to lining. Okay, so I'll be joining fabric to fabric and lining to lining. So I've done the same markings on my lining. I've used my pins also to secure the edges, and after this I'm going to just take it to the sewing machine and run a stitch on the lining and also on the main fabric. And the reason why I'm doing is because when I'm done, you will see what the inside looks like. It's going to be really clean. That is the effect I want for this skirt. So this is what the inside looks like after joining lining to lining, fabric to fabric. This is the right side, and you see the wrong side too. It's very clean. This is what I want. Now I'll proceed to join the bottom of the skirt. I'm going to also join the bottom of the skirt, the lining to the main skirt. And to do that, I'm going to cut off half an inch. Okay, I'll be cutting off half an inch from the lining, just so that when I join the two pieces together, the main fabric sort of overlaps inside the skirt. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the markings that I have at the hemline of the skirt, and after cutting it off, I will use my pins to secure all the edges all around it. So the two piece has been joined, the lining and the main fabric. Now we'll take it to the machine and we're going to be stitching on half an inch all around the skirt to close the hemline of this skirt. So that's what we'll do right now, and after that, this is what our skirt looks like. You can see the effect of that cutting off that we did on the lining of the skirt. So you can see that the main fabric overlaps inside the skirt, which gives it a very good finish as well. Onto the waistband, I have my waistband here. This band is from the pattern I did on my waistband, how to sew a waistband. I'll be leaving the link in the description box so that you can watch it. You can see that I've ironed an interfacing on the main fabric. One is for the main fabric and one will be as an interlining to cover the main fabric. Okay, so now that I have cut out these two pieces, we are going to take them together right sides facing each other, and we are going to be stitching on half an inch to cover the top of the band. Now after we are done stitching, this is what the band looks like. So I also went ahead to iron half an inch on both sides of this band because I'll be stitching on top of the band. So if you want to see another method, you can go and watch my video on how to do that. So because I'll be stitching on it, I've ironed half an inch on both sides for this band. Okay, and I also ironed it out. So know that before attaching this to your skirt, you need to also sew the edges of this band. Okay, so we're going to be sewing it closed, the two parts. We're going to take to the machine and we are going to stitch the both sides closed. All right, now that I have sewn the edges of the waistband, I'm going to take it to my skirt now, and I'm going to fit the skirt into the waistband. But before securing it down with pins, I'm going to create an overlap of 1 inch at one side of my waistband. So I'm just going to bring out one edge of the waistband by 1 inch, and then I'll continue to secure the rest of the waistband. I'll continue to fit the skirt into the waistband until I get to the other end of the skirt, and I will be securing them with my pins as I go. So as you can see, the waistband has been secured on the skirt, and this is what it is. This is what it looks like with my pins on it. So it's important that if you're going to be doing this process, it's important you use your pins to just hold down the waistband, so that when you take it to your machine, you already know what part you're stitching down, and you are going to find it easy stitching. It's not going to be moving around. The pins will assist or help the skirt from moving around. So after this, now I will go ahead, take it to my machine now, and I'm going to stitch on top of it, all from one edge to the other. So I've stitched the waistband on the skirt and I've taken off my pins now. this is what it looks like. Guys, isn't this looking beautiful? If you've not liked this video to this point, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please give me a huge thumbs up. Please like this video. So this is what the inside of the skirt is looking like, and this is what the outside look like. I love how it came out. I love how clean the inside is. I love the neat finishing. So what you need to do for the remaining part of the waistband is to just go ahead and attach a button or a hook and eye to it, and the waist is done. It's as simple as that. So you can see how clean and beautiful it is looking. So guys, this is the end of this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.